thing on? Yeah. Woo! Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and I hope you all are doing okay. Washing your hands, staying indoors, wearing your mask and all of that. If you're new here to the channel, my name is Daniel Hong and I'm a 5th year medical student studying in Cuba from Belize. And on this channel, I document my life here as a student in Cuba, but I also use this medium as a way to flex my creative muscles, quote unquote. And so here you'll find photography, videography, and music production stuff as well. This video is going to be one of the more creative ones. In this video, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of my whole YouTube thumbnail making process. So what is a thumbnail? A thumbnail is basically the little picture or graphic that you see when you're scrolling down YouTube before you even click a video. And its main purpose is to catch the person's eye and kind of hint to what the video is going to be about. And hopefully this is like one in many, because I've started series before and most of them died out. But this one, because I do it all the time, I thought it would be pretty interesting and probably a good help to a lot of you guys starting on this YouTube journey. And so I'm gonna take you behind the scenes of how I make my thumbnails with the first installment, which I'm going to be recreating one of the videos I made about the iPad Pro for students and creatives. So you can go check out that video somewhere over here after this video. But yeah, I'm going to be recreating the thumbnail for that. And with that out of the way, let's go back to the room and let's get this tutorial going. Alright guys, so here we are on the iPad. And I hope you like my awesome setup here with a little banana on the side for some moral support. And so here we are on the iPad. Of course, the app that I'll be using is an app called Affinity Photo, which is basically a Photoshop equivalent that I really like to use because you can pretty much do everything that you need to do on Photoshop on it. And best of all, you don't need to pay a subscription. So we're gonna open the app now. And let me show you what we're going to be working with. I know I already showed you before, but I'm just going to show you again. Right? And as you can see, this is the thumbnail that we're going to be making. And I mean, at first it looks pretty complex, pretty 3D, and it almost seems like it's popping out. Of course, you're going to be learning how to do this today. And, you know, you're going to learn a lot from this, I hope. So let's head back now and let's create a new document. Right? You can see the reflections of my camera. Hope it's not too distracting. We're going to select the web preset and we're going to just quickly scroll to 4K because we want the highest quality and the highest resolution possible. We're going to leave it in landscape mode and we're just going to leave all the settings the way it is. And now you're greeted to your canvas. Now that we are in our canvas, the first thing that I want to do is give myself a pretty nice background to work with. Right? I'm just gonna choose a color. Let me see, maybe blue, maybe a pink. Sure, let's go with that. And we're just going to click the rectangle tool and we're just going to tap and drag. And first thing I noticed, I kind of don't have my snapping turned on. So let me do that real quick. I'm going to turn on snapping. Basically it just magnetizes to the edges so that it's a lot more easier to align stuff. And so as you can see, once have that snapping turned on, I can drag and it'll snap. No surprise, it'll snap to the edges of the canvas, making it much more easier. Alright, I think I'm gonna change the color from pink to orange. Yeah, orange seems like the nice warm color. Right, after that we're going to create the border, and to do that we do a fairly similar procedure. We go to the rectangle tool. This time I'm gonna change it to white. And we're just gonna create another rectangle. So click your rectangle tool. And we're going to tap and drag and create a rectangle right over the one we just made. Right? Make sure, now this is where the magic happens. Make sure that this is the one selected. And we'll go to the color picker area. And there on the top left, you'll see two circles. The first circle is the color of the fill, and the second circle is the color of the stroke or border. First things first, we're going to remove the fill color by tapping that white block there with the line through it. And now we're left with the stroke or the border, which by default is at 1 pixel, and so you don't see anything at all. To change that, we're going to go to the pen tool, and we're right here. We're just going to drag up the width, right? And you can see, hopefully, you can see the border growing big. It's kind of hard to see with this dark color. And so we're just going to change that color very quickly to white. Make sure you are selecting your stroke and not your fill. That's the stroke, that's the fill, right there, fill. And now we're going to change that to white. As you can see, we have changed the border. You change it to any color that you like. The possibilities are endless. But we're gonna stick with white here. And we're gonna make it thicker, so you can see it better. Alright, so now we completed the first part. I'm going to bring up my Photos app, and I'm going to import the other picture that we need. This is basically me holding the iPad. So in my Photos app, I have it right here saved. As you can see, it's just a simple photo of me holding the iPad. Nothing too special. And so hopefully you notice that, thumbnails, they really do come from just simple photos like this one. So I'm going to shrink it a bit, and we're going to, so we can see everything we're working with. And we're going to head on over to the selections persona or workspace and go to the smart selections tool or brush or something. And we're just going to draw over the parts. We're going to change the size a bit of the pen, leave everything the same, and then we're just going to draw over parts of the photo that we want to keep, right? So I'm going to draw over my hand here, draw over this iPad, very important stuff. Take your time, because you want to be as accurate as possible. You don't want it to look rough and jaggedy. Like most tutorials, they wouldn't spend so much time on this, and with the power of editing, I can speed myself up in real time. And now that we're done with that, we're going to click on the refine button so that we can kind of see what we got. So as you can see, everything that is in color is what we selected, and everything that is red is what is going to be taken out, right? If you wanted the background, you can easily invert it, but yeah. The red parts are the parts of the image we don't want, and we go switch it from selection to mask. And when we accept, only the iPad and hand should stay. Perfect. As you can see, we got a pretty nice selection here. And now we can just resize it to however we want. You can kind of make it smaller, rotate it, do everything that you want with it. It's that versatile. Rotate it. I'm gonna rotate it. Gonna position it in the right area. Maybe make it bigger. Oops. I'm gonna rotate it. And now that we got that, let's add some text. To go add text, we just go to the text tool under the photos persona, right? And we're just going to type some text. I'm going to drag and type some text in. Maybe something like iPad Pro. Like so. And we're going to just make it bigger. Of course, I can't see that. And we're going to change the font because I think this font is just way more cooler looking. I'm going to change it, the color, to something that's more legible. Nah, I'm going to stick with white, even though the other colors are pretty cool. Gonna position it right, and we're going to create another text, a subheader. I'm gonna call it review, right? To keep the thumbnail pretty interesting, we're gonna also be changing the font of it as well. Go here, change the font maybe to this, and we're gonna resize and position it where we want it to be. And as the final step, we're going to select both of our text layers so that we can move them in unison. You do that by swiping right. Alright, so now let's deal with the screen replacement. I'm going to bring up my Photos app and I'm going to replace the screen with a screenshot I took of my iPad earlier today. Alright, so I'm gonna bring up my Photos app again, and right here is the screenshot that we're gonna use. We're gonna place it over the iPad's fingerprinty screen. Now we have it in. Let's make it smaller, and as you can see, if I were to just manually rotate it, it just wouldn't look as good or natural. So we're gonna remedy that with a filter. That's where filters come in very handy. Make sure you select it. And we're gonna head over to the filters. If I can find it, yeah, it's that one. Right? We're gonna scroll down and then we're going to find the one called perspective. Right? No surprise that it's called perspective. This filter will help us align our stuff perfectly. So if you click on it, you should see a new contextual menu pop up. You're going to tap on the grid so you can see it better. And what you basically do is just move the 4 different points to wherever you need to. In this case, the edges of this iPad screen, like so. You don't actually have to zoom it in like how I'm doing it, because you notice there's a little circle magnifying glass thing that comes up to help you guide your position. But for you guys, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just gonna zoom it way in. Alright, now let's get this right. Take your time. No one's rushing you. Okay? Right. To the power of editing, I can speed myself up in real time. Alright, now this looks pretty okay, and I could stop here, but I'm sort of a perfectionist, and if you've seen an iPad Pro display, you'd know that the screen is rounded off and it's not squarish, and so we're gonna fix that by using masks, right? So we're going to create a mask right there.
what masks do is they basically add a layer on top of any photo or text or whatever. And what they aim to do is you can hide, you can conceal and reveal stuff based on whether you use a black brush or a white brush, right? And so I've selected the black paintbrush and make sure to select the mask and not the photo. And by doing so, I can hide parts of the image. So I can actually draw out my little curves. And what I'm doing is I'm not painting black over the thing. I am painting black on the mask, which tells the mask to conceal parts of the image, right? So just like that, we already have a very convincing iPad screen without much work. And yeah, if there's a better way to do it, just let me know down in the comments. This is just how I do it. Now this is the basic gist of the thumbnail. Now we're just gonna group these texts now just for organization's sake. And we're gonna go one step further and fine-tune the thumbnail by adding some shadows to give it some more depth. So starting with the text, I grouped them already. We'll go into the effects panel and click on outer shadow. And here we're just gonna mess around with the parameters. And so I can change stuff like offset, radius, intensity, and angle of the shadow to best portray what I want. So as you can see, I'm just basically messing around and trying to get it to my taste. All right, now once you have everything that you've done, we're gonna move on to the picture of the hand holding the iPad. And same thing, we're going to make sure we have it selected. But first, let me up the thickness of the border just so you can kind of see a cool 3D effect over the hand, where the hand and the borders meet. And yeah, same procedure as before. Make sure we select the picture, right? Not the mask, the picture, right, on the left side. And we're gonna go to the effects panel, go back to outer shadow, and again, we're going to mess around with the different parameters to get it to where we want. Like one thing I'd say is make sure your shadows all match, right? So like you don't want one shadow tilted to the left and next one to the right because it's not very accurate. And I mean, another place you could actually put shadows is actually the border. You can actually add a shadow to the border. It kind of gives it a picture frame look. That's definitely something you can do. Now, one thing I forgot to do after I finished recording the video was kind of fix this, right? As you can see, the screen passes my thumb, which is wrong and was supposed to be the opposite. And so again, we select the mask, click the brush tool, and set the color to black. That conceals the parts of the image that we need to do. So as you can see, I'm just haphazardly concealing the photo, and we're going to lower the hardness and the flow so that you can get a more feathered look. Okay, and make sure that you change it to white. All right, so now when you draw it, it'll reveal back the photo. And because we lowered the hardness and all of that, where we have a more feathered look and it looks a lot more polished. All right, so make sure you lower the hardness and the flow just a little bit to make it a lot more convincing. Perfect. Another area I'm gonna fix is the edges of the iPad, which seem to have been... Another area I'm going to fix is the edges of the iPad, which seem to have been overly concealed. Again, we're going to be using the white brush. Make sure you select the iPad photo, right? Going to select the white brush, which reveals, right? And just go back and forth between two to try to get back the edges of the iPad that I accidentally deleted. And through the power of editing, I can speed it up so you don't have to wait as much. Okay, that's looking really good.
Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I know it's a pretty long one, and I know that a lot of you probably, left before the video ended, but if you're still here, I appreciate you. And I believe in more longer form videos that actually teach you something or give you more value than all of these short ones and really quick tutorial videos that I've been seeing on YouTube. If you appreciate that and all the work that I put in, make sure you like this video, share it with those that need it, and just subscribe to your boy, Until next time, peace.